Quiet on set.
Roll camera.
Sound speed.
Mark, please. And action.
Against her wishes.
Welcome back to Students in Focus. I'm Katie, a student producer for UEN TV. In this show, we focus on student work from all over the state of Utah. This week, we feature a short film, stories from Copper Hills TV News, and an interview with an animation studio, Planet Nutshell. Our first feature is by me and my friend Theo. It was our first time making a film with no assistance from our teacher. We were excited to create a piece for our very first film festival and even more excited when it got accepted. It was officially selected for the 2023 Utah High School Film Festival. Technicolor Equations is about a student struggling with her grades in math. Her world suddenly brightens when her teacher assigns a classmate to study with.
Play it again, Trinity. Okay, class. As you can see, the crest of the line is here in the trough. Okay, I'm gonna have you finish the rest of this up in your workbooks. We've got 5 minutes to do that. See me after class, Trinity.
Like,
not too great in this class. Man, I'll see you there, man.
Here, have a seat. Listen, your grades have been dropping. I don't want to fail you. I've arranged for one of your fellow students. Her name's Adri. She sits right here. She's going to be able to tutor you. It's going to be fine.
Fine.
Hi, I'm Adri. You must be Trinity? Okay, well, I was thinking we could start with what we learned last unit. So in chapter 4, we talk a lot about scatterplots. Hey. Hello. Okay, so you did good on that practice test last time. So I think we're gonna have to move on, which is exciting. So chapter 5, we're going more on Y hat.
Would you maybe want to hang out sometime? Like after tutoring. Actually, hang out?
I would love to. Does Thursday work?
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so now you have to get the section over there.
Okay.
I mean, is your turn then? Yeah. That's your turn. Oh, okay.
Alex? There you go. This way.
Good job, Trinity.
calling all student filmmakers. The Utah Film Center and the Utah Education Network have teamed up to bring you the second annual Tumbleweeds Kids Film Competition. Join us for a week full of student film screenings, panel discussions, workshops, speakers, and more. If you would like a chance for your film to be featured at the festival, and you're a Utah student in kindergarten through 8th grade, create a short film, 5 minutes or less, about any topic that interests you. Submissions must be received by March 1st, 2024. Prizes and awards will be announced at the Tumbleweeds Film Festival on April 19th at the Viridian Event Center in West Jordan. For more information, a full list of contest rules, and a schedule of festival events, visit tumbleweedskids.org/film-competition. We can't wait to see you on the red carpet.
Do you have a film or media event coming up? We'd love to hear from you. Visit our website at uen.org/studentsinfocus to share with us. Up next, we have a couple of stories by the students at Copper Hills High of CHTV News. First is Meet the Goat, where we learn a little more about the FFA class. Second is What is ASL? This story features the American Sign Language Club and the positive impact they make at their school.
Hi, this is CHTV News, and we're actually outside today for the first time in history. We're going to be interviewing a goat over there. Hi, Sage. How are you? I love Sage.
So Miss Bodley had the opportunity to let us raise animals over the summer. I kept her so I can breed her, but the other kids decided to auction their animals off.
Mrs. Bodley, you're the teacher of FFA, of course. How do people join the FFA?
So to be an FFA, they have to be in one of my classes, and I teach the agricultural classes. So you sign up, you get parent permission saying you can do that. I will teach you how to raise the goat and sheep all throughout the summer, how to train it so it will show. You get to sell it in the auction or do what Megan did and choose to keep your animal. Megan got a quarter credit over the summer for doing what she did, plus she got a goat, so. I've got the classroom, we have an animal pen, which Sage is gonna be staying and hanging out in for the day, and a school greenhouse. I say if you're thinking about joining FFA, just do it.
Have you eaten any, good food recently? I'm, a big fan of Chipotle. Thank you so much, Sage. That was a bit political at the end. Any, closing statements, Sage?
Hi, I'm Beck. I'm here at the ASL Club Halloween Social. Today we're going to get a closer look at what it's like to be an ASL club and learn the language. What are your guys' names?
Amelia.
Brooke.
Why did you want to learn sign? What made you want to learn ASL?
Because it's not like any other language, and so I wanted to speak to deaf people with sign language, and people who interpret it, I could watch the sign and do the signs with them.
That's really cool. What about you?
I would always see translators, and I would just be memorized. I could never look away from it. I'd be so excited. I'd be like, oh my God, look what they're doing. I want to do that too.
What's your name?
Evan.
Okay, Evan. You are an officer for ASL Club, right?
Yes.
Why do you think it's important to have this club in the school?
I would say that we need this kind of club because we're a very unique language compared to other languages, since we use hands to communicate instead of spoken language.
What's something that you've learned over the years from teaching ASL?
I would say just the impact of one individual can be really powerful.
The last question is, other than sign language, what do you want kids to take away from the class and the club?
As a teacher, it's been really important to me to help students feel 100% acceptable in their own skin.
When people think of Sundance, they think of a world of independent films and filmmakers. But they're all a part of something much, much bigger. At the heart of it all is the Sundance Institute, a nonprofit arts organization that supports extraordinary artists, their culture-shifting work, and connects them with passionate audiences. We're a global stage for independent storytellers, and we amplify the impact of their work in the world. We discover next-gen voices and provide the resources they need to bring their stories to life. We support artists who are building new realities to explore. And we connect emerging storytellers everywhere with decades of experience and expertise. The Sundance Institute is bringing together artists, film lovers, educators, funders, and industry to evolve our world through stories.
Share your unique perspective with the world through digital storytelling. Learn more at uen.org/Students in Focus to have your media considered for an upcoming episode of Students in Focus. For our final piece, I got to interview Josh Gunn from Planet Nutshell. Planet Nutshell is an animation studio in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Here at UEN, we've been collaborating with the studio for over 10 years. I got to learn about the process of creating UEN's latest holiday video.
Planet Nutshell began in my own home office here in Cambridge as I was attempting to find a way to create original content for what at the time was a very new thing called YouTube. And I made a few videos that were educational, and more people liked and saw these videos, and then eventually people started paying me to make these videos. And after that, I got involved in doing series for organizations like UEN, and then the client list just grew and grew after that.
Do you remember one of the first projects you ever did?
The first project I ever worked on was a look at a Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken, and I really wanted to explain why the poem is not about what people think it's about. And I had learned that from an English professor in college, and I felt like that would be a really interesting thing to make a video about.
What did you study in college?
I was a creative writing major, which was part of the English department. And I think that degree was really helpful because it helped me learn about how to articulate myself, and how to do research, and how to understand the world through the eyes of other people. And my very first video job was operating a robot camera that drove through the sewers of Seattle and took video of where the sewer was broken. And my job was to edit this video into a highlight reel of the worst places in the sewer. And that's where it all began, in the sewers.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. So up next, what kind of projects do you make at Planet Nutshell?
We do a lot of different kinds of things. We primarily focus on animation, and we do animation to serve clients, mostly in education, nonprofit, and the healthcare fields. I strongly believe in making media that has like a social impact or one that makes people's lives better. And so I've shied away from advertising or marketing type work and have really committed the studio to doing work that we all feel really good about. I have a lot of favorites. Some of them are projects we've worked on for UEN, of course. But I think the most challenging and most rewarding project has been our short film that we made on our own. And this was one of our first original works. And we learned a ton from that. And it has been, as I said, a really rewarding process to see that through to the end. Yeah, and that, by the way, that's our film called Azúcar. As I said before, a long time ago, I learned how to tell stories that weren't so much about me, although, perhaps I have some interesting stories to tell, but to find ways to tell stories through the eyes of other people, and to help audiences empathize with the experiences of other people. And I think that's what great art does. And so, I was really moved and concerned about some of the issues going on at the U.S. border, the southern border. And that moved me to tell a story and humanize the experiences of what's going on down there and put a human face on what is sometimes a really abstract concept in the news media. And to show that these are people who have real lives and real hopes and dreams and histories that are pushing them northward.
That's a really amazing message. What is the video making process like at Planet Nutshell?
So with animation, you always want to do the least amount of work up front, because actually animating things is a ton of work. So a storyboard is a great example of pre-production that gets a project off the ground. You kind of conceptualize what it's going to look like just in very sketch format. Then you sort of finesse that and rework it and revise it over and over again until you're really happy with the visual flow of something before you commit resources to making final illustrations or doing final animations. So to talk a little bit about the process of making UEN's holiday videos, we've been doing that for quite a while, so we have a process that's been developed over a few years. I think what really drives those projects is this notion of connection, bringing people together in the ways that technology can do that in a really positive way, in the way that UEN is instrumental in that, and the way that UEN is instrumental in fostering and promoting this sort of educational connectedness throughout Utah. So we really try to embody that in these shorts. The most wonderful thing about those shorts, I think, are the illustrations, and we worked with a really talented children's book author for the last few years to create the illustrations. But the process for that is much the same as everything else. We start with a concept, and then we do a storyboard, and then the folks at UEN help us, refine that.
We actually have little from it on set.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite thing about your job?
I just feel really lucky that I have a creative job. I never was the type of person that could really do jobs that required me to sort of just do what I was told. And I always needed a sort of creative way to express myself. And I'm just really thankful that I get to do that as part of my work, and I'm really, really, really thankful that I get to make experiences that make people happy and help them learn things. So what would I say to student filmmakers who want to get into the industry? I would say focus on the fundamentals of visual art, drawing, visualization. Those are really key, tenets of being an artist. The other thing I would focus on is storytelling. So learning how stories are made, how stories are put together, and how stories impact people. So what makes an effective story and how to visualize an effective story. Those are the sorts of things that I think are really important.
Thanks so much for coming on to Students in Focus.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Josh. We're excited to now share our holiday wishes with you from all of us here at UEN.
New challenges mean new opportunities. New solutions. And new ways to connect. Every step of the way, UEN is there, supporting innovations across Utah and beyond. Happy holidays from all of us at UEN.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Students in Focus. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next episode. And you can check out past episodes at UEN Video. And hey, did I mention you can submit your project to be featured here on Students in Focus? See you next year. All of us here at UEN. One more. You're good. Yeah.